Right, we're going to talk to the government now because the Labour members are arriving in Liverpool ahead of the annual conference, which starts tomorrow.
However, it has been far from plain sailing for Labour since their landslide general election.
The poll ratings have plummeted. The party is divided on key issues, including the two-child benefit cap and, of course, the Middle East.
Meanwhile, the Daily Telegraph, have reported that Sir Sadiq Khan has set his sights on number 10.
And that comes after Andy Burnham, the Mayor of Greater Manchester, said Labour MPs wanted him to replace the Prime Minister.
Well, someone who isn't a fan of Sir Sadiq Khan is the US President, Donald Trump.
I'm not a fan of your mayor. Why not? I think he's done a terrible job.
The Mayor of London, Khan, is among the worst mayors in the world.
Well, I think he's been a not very good mayor, from what I understand. He's done a poor job. Crime is up, a lot of problems. I look at London, where you have a terrible mayor, terrible mayor, and it's been so changed. Now they want to go to Sharia law.
Well, let's talk to Minister for Children, Families and Wellbeing, Josh Macalister, who joins us now. Minister, it's good to see you this morning. I mean, obviously the Prime Minister going into this conference wanting to unify the party as best he can. It seems that the people he can't trust are the ones who are mayors of quite pretty big areas.
Good morning, good to be with you. We have been in government for 14 months. I think you started the package by referencing that, and we came into government off the back of a long period of time where the country went through a number of political shocks, whether that's austerity, whether it's the unplanned chaotic Brexit, or whether it was the Liz Truss mini-budget. That has left people still feeling very frustrated, very angry with problems and wanting to see things fixed. And we are starting to go through that process of fixing some really important things, making some big decisions as a government to get the country back on its feet and rising. That's not a straightforward or clean process. There's things about that make it really difficult. People can see, international news, the kind of background to what's going on in the economy is quite challenging, but we are making steady progress. And as we get closer to that election, people will start to see big changes that we've made, and there'll be a proper choice about whether we throw the progress that we're making to the wall, the progress that we're making to change the state, to modernise it with digital ID, the changes that we're making to the NHS to create millions of extra appointments, or whether we go with the problem exploiters in reform rather than the problem solvers in Labour.
Yeah, but are you listening to the people? I mean, you saw the results of this mega poll. You're falling way behind in the popularity stakes. The people don't believe half of what you promise, and there doesn't seem to be any progress in 14 months of government.
Well, I take your point about public mood. What's going on in politics at the moment, Reform are really effective at holding up a mirror to problems and shouting at them and saying this is really bad, and saying problem. We're interested in actually solving those problems. Polls right now are asking people how they're feeling about things. That's not the same as a general election where it's a really clear choice between who you want to run the country. And I do challenge you on the fact that we've not made progress in 14 months. We've made big progress, 5 million extra NHS appointments. I'm announcing this morning that we're extending the rollout of free breakfast clubs to another 2,000 schools. That's going to help another 500,000 pupils. We've got 3 trade deals. We're completely changing our planning system to get the country building again. We made a big decision on digital ID to modernise the state. These are big decisions that they've got opponents, that's fine, but we're in government to shake things up, to change the country, get it back on its feet and working again. That's a difficult, disruptive process, but that is why we're in this business of being in government. We're not happy with the status quo, we want it to change, and we're interested in solving those problems.
As a journalist, I always need to remember more in less time. And you know what I really hate? Taking notes. It wastes loads of time and you forget stuff. And that's where Plord comes in. This is the Plord Note, a sleek, pro-level AI note taker that records and creates notes for you. Whether you're listening to a long podcast, stuck in a meeting, or on an important call, Plord captures everything at the tap of a button. Then it gives you a smart, structured summary with all of the key takeaways. It even recognises different speakers by their voice, and you can choose from bullet points, to-do lists, or even mind maps. Your data's safe too. with end-to-end encryption and global privacy compliance. And with Claude's built-in AI, you can search everything you've ever recorded just by asking a question. It's slim, magnetic, under 30 grams, lasts up to 60 days on standby, and over 1 million people are already using it. Hit the link in the description and use code GB10 for £10 off your Claude order. Save hours of time and never miss a detail again. Link in the description below.
It's one thing to be disruptive, it's another thing to announce a policy, as we had yesterday, about digital IDs, and within that period of time, 1,635,394 people have signed a petition against it. It's the first time in about 6 years, isn't it, that actually the government petition website has gone above 1 million.
Well, look, there are millions of people out there in the country who interact with government or different bits of the state and find it bureaucratic, wasteful, really frustrating. Even just getting a pre-employment check done if you want to go and work in the NHS, for example, you're often taking physical copies of your council tax bill, your passport, your national insurance number into work. People are then scanning those things, uploading them onto documents and emailing them to each other. That's really wasteful. People are massively frustrated with that. And in countries like Australia, Estonia, Sweden, Denmark, they've introduced digital ID. It modernises the state. It makes it much slicker, quicker, cheaper, faster, all those things. And it has the added benefit of closing loopholes for people that are committing crimes or working here illegally. And I'm really looking forward to hearing from Reform about their plan to modernise the state now that they've been very clear that they oppose digital ID. I can't wait to hear what their answer is.
Yeah, but this is where I get a little bit confused, in that we were sold this idea as it's all about illegal immigration and it's going to clamp down on illegal immigration. Well, that's been pretty much dismissed in the past 24 hours as it's unlikely to make much of a difference as a deterrent whatsoever. And this morning you're selling it as, well, it's about integrating government services, which is not what we were told it was for.
Well, let me give you two really clear examples. So in Sweden, they've got digital ID, and it's been shown in areas of the economy that they've looked at that digital ID that's been mandated, that's connected different bits of data, has closed big loopholes for illegal working. So we're saying as a government, we're going to do digital ID, and the first use case for it is around right-to-work checks by the end of this Parliament. It's a big change, so we're not saying we're going to boil the ocean in one go, because the public would be really sceptical of that. So we're saying we're starting with this issue of right-to-work checks first, but there are loads of other applications for digital ID. And the second example I'm going to give you is about the UK Passport Office, where if any of you have got a new passport in the last few years, you will have experienced a bit of the government website and the government systems that works really well. It issues passports quickly, it auto-populates a lot of the information, and that is totally different to the old world where you used to have to go and queue outside offices across different bits of the UK to get a new passport, and it would take weeks, and we employed loads of people. That was really wasteful. So that is one example that kind of proves how dysfunctional other bits of the state are. We don't want that to be an exception that proves the rule. We want that to be the new standard for how the state works, and digital ID is absolutely crucial to be able to make those changes to modernise the state. If you don't support it, go and look at countries like Australia, Estonia, Denmark, Sweden, India even, where they've got digital ID and it's making things cheaper, faster, better, and it cracks down on criminal activity. This is a big change for the country. We're going to manage it really well. It's going to take a few years to get the first bit right, and our political opponents can choose to snipe at it, but ultimately the question will come to them. Why are they in favour of keeping a weak system of checks?
The people who are sniping aren't just your political opponents, they're in your own party. Already we've got 2 mayors, Labour mayors, who clearly want to take Keir Starmer's job off him. Now, if things were as rosy as you're trying to say, that wouldn't be happening. We've got a Prime Minister who's been in office 14 months and it has lost such faith that there are people who we know who are doing interviews in the newspapers about what great candidates they would be for his job.
Yeah, well, it's a reflection of the vibrant talent in the Labour Party that we've got loads of people who would make great leaders.
Come on.
Look, the other thing I'd say to you spend a lot of time with politicians. You'll know a lot of them who are very keen to be in positions where they can make the biggest difference possible, and that's the most favourable take that I've got on it. I know Andy Burnham myself. I've worked with him on youth justice issues in Greater Manchester. He's doing a really good job there. But look, this conference is all about the plan we've got as a team to improve this country and get it back on its feet. That includes mayors doing their part, and it includes the national government doing our part. But our Prime Minister is Keir Starmer. He's making big decisions, like on digital ID, that won't always be popular, but to modernise the state, get the country working again, improve productivity, get growth going, extra appointments in the NHS, all of those things. And that's kind of away from the sideshow of the last few days where we've had people saying whether they'd like a different job in the future.
Can I just before we let you go, can I just go back to something you said at the beginning about what the problems you inherited? And there's no doubt that you did inherit a lot of problems. And one of them was the economy. And one of the big pushes we were told, you're going to fix the economy. You were basing everything on this, this growth, this incredible growth you were going to achieve. Brilliant. Except from the first budget onwards, all that has been achieved by the Chancellor is actually a whole load of policies which is reducing growth. We're seeing growth falling in this country. We're seeing policies that are making small businesses say, I don't know how we can continue. We certainly can't employ any more people. And now we've got a budget coming up where if we don't see significant tax increases and spending cuts, I'll eat my hat. So how are you fixing that? The problem has got worse under Labour.
So look, the best analogy I've got for this is that what we've done with the economy since the election is we have sowed some important seeds that are germinating, that are starting to take root, that solve long-term problems for the UK economy. One of them being productivity. Low productivity growth in the UK compared to almost all of our competitor economies. And a big driver of that is a lack of investment. Now, that's private and public investment. Private investment because investors haven't been confident in the UK before. That's changing now. And public investment because we haven't been prepared to fix long-term parts of our buildings, our estates, our energy system. We're now getting on with building Sizewell C. That's a big call in my area. We're taking rack out of schools that had crumbling roofs. That was basically what we inherited. Now, to get the economy growing, you need productivity to get up, and to get productivity up, you need investment, and you need to change the planning system. They're two big things that we've done that have attracted lots of opposition from our opponents. That's fine, but we're taking a different approach to growing the economy. And yeah, we're not going to get immediate results within 14 months, but you're starting to see positive signs on business confidence. We've seen 5 interest rate cuts, and we've seen that the UK right now is the fastest growing economy in the G7. It's not as fast as we want it to be, and we know that people watching this will not be feeling the benefits of those things yet. We get that, but we need to invest in the long term, deal with these productivity issues. That's how you get the UK economy growing. We had 14 years of trying the different approach of cutting loads of different things, making the pie smaller. It didn't work. That's why we're changing things, and it's disruptive to change things, and then you create a load of noise about it and there's a load of debates. That's fine. That's why we're in government, because we're confident in our ideas and we're keen to make the changes that are needed so that by the next election, people feel those benefits.
Well, look, thank you so much for coming on today. It was really good to talk to you. That's Josh Macalister, who's got one heck of a job as Minister for Children and Wellbeing and Families and everything. So have a good conference, and we'll be watching you with interest, all this vibrant talent in the Labour Party.
Yes, I mean, he laughed at his own response to that one.